We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
China and Russia meetings continue. Amazon announces more layoffs, a new climate report, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Chinese leader Xi Jinping arrived in Russia Monday for talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin in a show of support as Putin faces allegations of war crimes over his invasion of Ukraine. The two leaders met for more than 4 hours as the United States and its Western allies intensify their opposition to Russia over Ukraine. Xi has said that China was ready to join Russia to stand guard over the world order based on international law. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Xi's trip, coming days after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Putin, suggests that China feels no responsibility to hold the Kremlin accountable for the atrocities committed to Ukraine. The two countries continue to meet for another 2 days. The world will pass a tipping point within 10 years where catastrophic warming is unavoidable unless nations immediately transition away from burning fossil fuels, according to a report released Monday from the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This is not the first time that climate activists have claimed that the tipping point is near. The study found that the world will probably pass the ambitious target of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit, above pre-industrial temperatures by the early 2030s. Once the planet passes that threshold, some scientists believe that climate disasters will become too extreme for humans to adapt, and heat waves, famines, and other scourges could kill millions over the rest of the century. Other scientists are not convinced that humans will not be able to adapt and that the tipping point can still be avoided. President Biden used his veto power for the first time, blocking a bill that aimed to reverse a rule allowing pension managers to consider environmental, social, and corporate governance, ESG factors, when making investment decisions. Retirement plan fiduciaries should be able to consider any factor that maximizes financial returns for retirees across the country. That's not controversial. That's common sense, Biden said in his veto message. In fact, the bill does not focus on providing the best returns. It allows financial advisors to put their environmental and social concerns above the return to investors, in effect, putting the advisor's political beliefs in front of their duty to their client. The move sends the bill back to the Congress, where opponents do not have the 2/3 of votes needed in both the House and the Senate to override the veto. Unless opponents come up with more votes, the rule will stand. Amazon announced it would slash 9,000 more corporate jobs in a second round of mass layoffs. Chief Executive Andy Jassy said the cuts were necessary after the online retail giant had added large numbers of workers in recent years. Much of the tech industry went on a hiring binge to meet surging demand for online services during lockdowns early in the pandemic. And now Amazon and other large tech firms are cutting costs as demand weakens. Amazon previously said it was eliminating 18,000 jobs. Given the uncertain economy in which we reside and the uncertainty that exists in the near future, we have chosen to be more streamlined in our costs and headcount, Jassy said. Former President Donald Trump addressed his supporters in a late-night video Monday, where he maintained his innocence amid ongoing legal fights. In a post on Truth Social, Trump called the 4 horrible radical left Democrat investigations just an extension of the most disgusting witch hunt in the history of our country. The former president specifically referenced his ongoing legal fight in New York with Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. The possible charges stem from a $130,000 hush money payment that then Trump lawyer Michael Cohen made to adult film star Stormy Daniels, whose legal name is Stephanie Clifford, in the weeks leading up to the 2016 presidential election in exchange for her silence about an alleged sexual encounter with Trump in 2006. Robert Costello, a former legal advisor to Michael Cohen, the convicted felon who is the prosecution's star witness against Trump, described Cohen as a convicted perjurer and serial liar in testimony that in a normal setting could sink the case entirely. There can be no doubt in anyone's mind that Michael Cohen has great difficulty telling the truth, he said. He is, after all, a convicted perjurer, and our track record with Mr. Cohen convinced us that he was a serial liar. In addition to Cohen's problematic testimony, the statute of limitations on the alleged crime that Bragg is investigating ran out 5 years ago. None of this has stopped the Soros-based attorney from going after Donald Trump. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.